Are you ready for more? The 80s gave us quite the claws, fangs, and transformations. Can the grungy 90s stand a chance? Better yet, surpass the awesome werewolves we've seen thus far? Well, let's find out. Meridian, 1990. The decade begins with this Beauty and the Beast type romance that features a rather mellow, very furry, well, creature. For is it canine enough to be considered a true werewolf? Howling 6, The Freaks, 1991. Here we are greeted by this semi-hairy beast man. He's certainly not as offensively bad as some howling werewolves of the past, but he's also nothing extraordinary. And being of a werewolf franchise, special effects in these movies should be much more innovative. Shout out to those digitigrade legs. Mad at the Moon, 1992. What seems the most impressive about the long-bearded Wolfman here is his hairy, darkened arm. And well, that doesn't say much. Full Eclipse, 1991. Here we have a rather large, hunched black werewolf. The practical effects are good, not great, with a face covered with some bear-like features. Wolf, 1994. Early on in the film, we have some real canines and this practical effect wolf. A very memorable werewolf movie. The wolfmen here are light and wolfy effects, but the acting largely makes up for it. A must-see for werewolf fans. What say you, beloved Monsterites? Project Metal Beast, 1995. The werewolf here is brutal, full-bodied and thick. After having had some lab work done on it in the movie, it became even fiercer. Glowing red eyes, an even overall darker hue, and spine-like furs protruding from behind its head gave us quite an original monster that justified the theme of the film's title. So metal. The Howling, New Moon Rising, 1995. A terrible Howling release if werewolf content is what you seek. Not only is the creature briefly shown, but the creation uninspired, unoriginal, uninventive, and unrealistic. What a truly pathetic money grab leeching off the Howling title. Bad Moon, 1996. If full, hybrid, crazed bipedal werewolf is what you seek, and maybe the 80s hadn't quite provided it for you, then Bad Moon may just be the solution you crave. The werewolves here are viciously gorgeous, intimidating with excellent practical effects. Not only is this werewolf great, but the movie very enjoyable. Whether it's the relatability of the plot itself or the aesthetics and visuals of the monster, this movie is a must-watch for any wolfy fan out there. Werewolf, 1996. This movie features both the more feral form werewolf as well as the Wolfman werewolf version. The former being of more than just okay design, though largely lacking in effects, quality, and realism. The Wolfman, on the other hand, was actually pretty well executed apart from the atrocious acting, which is by far the film's lowest point. Wilderness, 1996. The first shapeshifter film in the decade to feature the wolf full form with this animal actor. A good-looking canine too. An American Werewolf in Paris, 1997. With intentions of thriving upon the success that was An American Werewolf in London, this film lacks in many of the points that made the 80s predecessor such a classic. But it is indeed the first werewolf film to go full CGI special effects on our adored monster. The quality of the effects themselves were poor, maybe even deprived when comparing to other films of this year, and the monster's design itself seemed a little awkward with a somewhat unappealing face structure. Lycanthrope, El Asesino de la Luna Llena, or Lycanthropus, The Moonlight Murders, 1997. A Spanish film that features this very 1970s Wolfman. Oh, and I'm sure you'll just love hearing this. It stars Paul Naschy, though certainly not at his or in his best. Tale of the Urban Werewolf, 1997. A very low-budget film, and for what it is, the werewolf is not that bad at all. Probably better than many films with quadruple the budget, though where it seriously hits low is the production and direction itself. The Creeps, 1997. As with the other monsters in this film, the Wolfman here is little. That is, if you can even really call him a wolfman or werewolf. His features appear more akin to those of a vampire or bat monster rather than wolf. Lycanthrophobia, 1998. A short film with some questionable clinical lycanthropy at play. Barely worth a mention here, really. The Werewolf Reborn, 1998. Here we have a low-budget attempt at a werewolf and wolfman cross. Really, the conception isn't all that bad though. It's an acceptable mix of human and beast. The Wolves of Cromer, 1998. This. Oh, and they have wolf tails. Fans are more than welcome to share more on this one below. Lycanthrope, 1999. We end this decade with this very unoriginal design for the era. Even the transformation is another attempt at copying the famed work of Rick Baker in An American Werewolf in London. All in all though, the werewolf is nicely wild, rugged, and monstrous. Well, the 90s were certainly a time and feel of a certain realism as our civilization progressed deeper into an era of shiny technology and the intangible, the digital. But did this necessarily advance the creations of monsters we enjoyed in cinema? Were the werewolves here on par with what you expected? Better? Worse? Get your flashlights and tranquilizers ready as we cross to the next millennium. Click now to travel in time.